My fiancée suddenly started pressuring me for a three-way, but when I secretly checked her phone, she was already letting another guy go all the way with her, so I cancelled the wedding and showed her the way out. Posted by you/RadiantRub1212. I, 24M, recently proposed to my now ex-fiancée, 23F, after 2 years of dating. We met through mutual friends at work. We started talking as friends, went on dates, and on New Year's Eve, we officially started dating. At the beginning of our relationship, she mentioned this guy, Marvin. According to her, Marvin has always had a crush on her, and during the first few months of our relationship, he texted her several times, asking her to leave me and give him a chance. We used to talk about how pathetic this guy was and how she despised him for suggesting she would leave me for him. I must clarify, I'm nothing special, I'm a short, Asian, nerdy guy. Time went by, and after 2 years of dating, I decided to propose to her. So, on New Year's Eve, I gave her the ring, and she said yes in front of her whole family. I had some money saved, she doesn't work, so I started looking for venues, catering, invitations, decor, and everything. I spent a large amount of money, as her parents were not in a position to help with the expenses, and I had enough savings to handle this comfortably. One day, while we were running errands, we started talking about having a three-way. We're in our 20s, so there are a lot of things we want to try. We discussed for a while how we could find someone, and she quickly said, I have someone in mind. I asked who, and she replied, Marvin. I know that was the first red flag, but I let it pass. I asked why him, and she just answered that she was physically attracted to him. I asked why she would say she hated him at first and then choose him as her first option for a three-way, and she replied it was only a one-time thing. So I told her it was okay, but we needed to talk later to set rules, limits, and I would like to talk to him personally before giving the green light. During the next couple of days, she started acting really excited, coming to me to show hotels and asking when we were going to meet with him, talking about how exciting everything was. I told her we needed to discuss things first, as it's not as easy as it sounds, and we needed to set some limits. After that, she calmed down for a day or two but then started bringing up the subject again. It reached a point where she insisted so much and brought up the topic so many times that I ended up telling her that she either needed to calm down, or the three-way wasn't going to happen. She apologized and mentioned I was right, but something still didn't feel right. That afternoon, while we were taking a nap and she was sleeping, I went through her phone and found out she had been cheating on me with him for a couple of months. They had been meeting while I was at work, and she even sent him one of those kink tests you can find online to see if his kinks matched hers. To say I was furious is an understatement. She woke up while I was checking her phone, and I confronted her. She started crying, saying she was sorry and that she didn't know what she was doing. I packed my things and stormed out to stay at a hotel. That night, I got a call from her parents, accusing me of ruining the engagement and acting like a baby, saying I was the one who brought up the topic of the three-way and that their daughter wasn't at fault. I hung up without saying anything and started canceling everything I had planned for the wedding. She called me the next day, apologizing and asking me to come back. Her whole family has been sending texts, telling me to man up and insisting that I was the one at fault, urging me not to break off the engagement. Am I the jerk for canceling everything? Update 2 days later. Hey guys, thanks for everyone's advice. I appreciate both the support and the mean comments. Both perspectives were helpful. Now, let me address just a few things before I continue. My ex stopped working to go to college. We met at work, but she quit once we moved in together. Yes, my now ex-fiancée told her parents we were breaking up because I suggested the three-way and got mad when she mentioned Marvin. And her parents believed her. Yes, I needed reassurance to make sure I wasn't at fault. I've been conditioned all my life to be a doormat, so it's hard to stand up for myself. Here's the update. After reading all your messages, I reached out to my father-in-law, and we agreed to meet at a nearby mall to talk about the reasons why I broke off the engagement. I had a good relationship with him, as we both share the same interests and hobbies, so I figured we could have a conversation. We met, and even though he seemed mad, he agreed to listen. I took screenshots of the conversations my ex-fiancée had with Marvin and showed them to him. After looking at everything, he told me that my ex had given them a completely different story. According to him, my ex went to them crying, saying I was breaking the engagement because I wanted to have a three-way, and when she picked Marvin as the third, I snapped at her. He also mentioned that Marvin has been coming by to check on my ex, as she has been staying with them since we broke up. We went to my apartment and packed all of her belongings to move her out. The ring was at the apartment as well, so I kept it. We're on our way to drop everything off with her right now. I'll keep you guys updated. Second update 10 days later. Hey guys, I'm back. I know y'all have been waiting for this update. I had to create a new account because I got shadow banned on the other one. I apologize for the delay. So after picking up my ex's belongings, my father-in-law and I drove to his house. The ride there was awkward, to say the least. When we got there, we walked in, and guess who was there? Exactly, effing Marvin. They were all in the living room. My ex looked like she'd been crying for a while, Marvin was hugging her, and my mother-in-law was sitting next to her with a box of tissues. My mother-in-law saw me enter and immediately asked my father-in-law what I was doing there. He responded, "We all need to talk about the situation," and he came to clarify some things. We all sat down, and Marvin was about to leave the room when my father-in-law said, "No, please stay, you're part of this too." Marvin sat down, but it was clear he wasn't handling things well. His right leg was bouncing, and he tried his best not to make eye contact with me or my ex. My father-in-law then started by saying that I had agreed to continue with the engagement, which made my mother-in-law and my ex smile. However, my father-in-law said I had one condition: Marvin must show him his WhatsApp conversation with my ex. At that moment, I was shocked. I was about to argue, but then I understood something. Most likely, my ex had deleted the conversation with Marvin, but there was a chance Marvin hadn't. Marvin tried to protest, but my father-in-law insisted and asked him to do this for his daughter. My ex and Marvin glanced at each other, while my mother-in-law sat silently, looking at my father-in-law. Finally, Marvin stood up and left without saying anything else. My ex started crying again, but my father-in-law told her to shut up. He said I had shown him the screenshots of their conversations and that he was disappointed to have raised a cheater. My mother-in-law was in disbelief, so I showed her the screenshots too. Both of them screamed at my ex, asking how she could do something like that, especially on top of lying to their faces. In the end, my father-in-law went outside to unload her belongings in the driveway and told her to find somewhere else to stay, as she was no longer welcome there. My father-in-law apologized to me and said he would like to keep in touch to make sure I was okay. I came back home after all that happened feeling empty, not gonna lie. I think it was the adrenaline wearing off. I got one call from my ex, but I didn't answer. I blocked her number and spoke with security at my building to make sure she's trespassed if she comes by. I also posted on Facebook and Instagram about what happened and made sure to include the screenshots of the conversation, just so she can't twist the situation with friends and family. I'll be getting most of my money back after canceling the venue, catering, and other arrangements, so I'm planning to move to another state. I also got some STD tests done, and thankfully, I'm clean. I'll be selling the ring to recoup some of my money as well. That's the update for now. I don't think I'll be updating anymore, but I want to thank everyone for your comments, both good and bad. Hopefully, things will start to get better from here.